Now, as part of the company's strategy, they are focused on developing commercially viable growth opportunities in orogenic gold deposits in greenstone belts. Panther Metals has two 100% owned projects in northwestern Ontario, namely the Big Bear project, over 51 square kilometres, and the Dotted Lake project, over 34 square kilometres. So Darren, let's start off. Why Canada? And what is the area you're in, Ontario, like for gold deposits?
Yeah, hi Mark. Thanks for having us on. We're not in Ontario by mistake. All the majors in the gold exploration, gold mining space are there. Newmont, Teck, they're all in Ontario, and you can even come down now to the likes of Great Bear Resources that have made a major discovery, has made headlines within the industry and across the globe, and they continue to build that out. You've got Hart Mining. They moved into production over the last couple of years, and actually they've recently announced a massive increase in their exploration activities on their project area and getting closer to home. You've obviously got the Barrick-owned Hemlo mine that's produced over 21 million ounces. Barrick keep extending life of mine. It really does set up beautifully in that area for exactly what we're looking for, and that's why we're there.
Okay, so you mentioned some neighbours there, but who are the other neighbours in the area? And more importantly, what are they up to in terms of exploration activities?
Well, if you really home in, if we look at Dotted Lake as a first example, that's just north, 16, 17 kilometres from the edge of the Hemlo mine, the Dotted Lake project, and our very close neighbours. You've got everything from Hemlo Explorers. They've recently completed a 13 drill program on the North Limb. Now they've hit 3 of the 13 holes of assayed, and they've intersected gold and multiple elements, and they seem very pleased with their results. And to our east, we've got Palladium 1. They've intersected massive sulfides in multiple holes at the Toiko nickel copper project, and that again has created lots of headlines, and we've seen their share price respond accordingly. It's very interesting, and you've even got down to the very local area. Private company First Class Metals, they share a board with us, and they've been active on the ground. They've had a Canadian geologist, Francine Long. She's been walking the ground, and that's meant that she's had to cross into our patch, which we're happy with. I'm in contact with Francine, and she's indicated that the project is very pleasing on the eye at our Dotted Lake project, where she's been looking. So, yeah, it's an exceptionally active area. There's lots going on, and there's a huge amount of positivity. And what people do forget about the Dotted Lake area is, yes, it's in close proximity to Hemlo, but there's been very, very little exploration work done in that area. And that's of a historic nature due to people picking up claims, sitting on them, have not been able to finance the work programs. And then over time, it just disappears. So, no, it's extraordinarily exciting for us in that location. And then on the Big Bear project, that's approximately 80 kilometres to the west, and on the Schreiber Hemlo Greenstone Belt. And in that area to the south, and again we border them, is you've got Ready Set Gold. They've got 1.2 million ounces in inferred and indicated on the North Shore deposit. They have had very encouraging results that they've announced over the last couple of months, and their second drill program's now active, and they're extremely pleased there. You've got to our east and west, the land is owned by a company called Metalum Resources, and they're affiliated with a Sprott Group. They've also got the Winston Mine, which is a zinc mine just to the north of the Big Bear project. And these guys have recently completed that. They're well financed. They're exceptionally well connected in Canada. They've got some big names. And I think you're going to see a lot of activity from them. And it goes right the way down to the private companies. You've got Fulcrum. who have picked up land to our north and to our northwest as well. So it's all happening, and everything we've done in Canada, we started off picking up and building and building and building, and now we're surrounded by activity, which is a beautiful position to be in.
Okay, and what is the project area like for infrastructure and access?
So if we start on the Big Bear project, it could not be better. In fact, and it's improved immensely as well, which for Canada is an extraordinary feat. It's the project on its southern edge does sort of overlap onto the North Ontario Highway. So that is the major arterial road across Northern Ontario. And Schreiber sits there. Schreiber was originally built up around a rail yard. So the town, in the middle of the town, is dominated by big rail sidings, and it is big. I've been there, I've seen it. I've watched a train go past there that took about 10 minutes to go past. That these are big beasts. And it's also got the Northern Ontario power line that runs directly across our project, and they're actually in the process of upgrading that. And as part of that upgrade, they've had to build a road that runs straight across the property, cutting it in half, that could take trucks. So it means that we've got a road that's as wide as some of the wide sections of the M25, cutting straight across our land that used to only be we could only access via ATVs. So now we've got drive up targets, and we can get big machinery to within hundreds of meters of where we want to be active on the property. And that was just pure luck, but it's worth millions to the company. It's absolutely superb news for us. And we'll be getting out there now and taking advantage. That work took place over the winter. We've got the pictures, and I can't wait to get out there and carry on. And of course, the work that they've done, it would also uncover, it would have disturbed the surface ground. And we know that the Big Bear is full of crazy grades. I've yet to see that surface project area that has got so many gold grades in the hundreds of grams, and we've got over 1,000 reported as well. And we're not talking about one or two. In the hundreds of grams, we've got 100, 200, 300, 400s, right the way up to 1,500 grams per tonne reported in historic grades. Yeah, it's immense. And as I've said before, we're just putting this jigsaw puzzle together. We've got multiple target areas on Big Bear. We've just put in for additional drilling. We've got some historic drilling applications in. This is really starting to take off now. And we'll move over to Dotted Lake. Dotted Lake hasn't got the railway line, but we can drive right up to the property. We've been on the property. That has got access via ATV tracks. But also, just recently, they've started in Canada. The loggers they clear certain areas and then regrowth. You've got to remember this is across vast. Canada is vast areas, which is almost incomprehensible to the UK. When you get out there, I fly from Toronto across to Thunder Bay, and you're never leaving Ontario, and you're not even close to either edge of Ontario either. But that flight takes 2 hours. So we're talking about vast areas. But no, the loggers are into Dotted Lake, and they're doing some logging, which actually own the project again. Because you've got to remember, they're clearing vast swathes of trees to then replant and regrow. But in doing that, they're actually exposing the surface for us. So they're doing some work for us. So we've been pretty fortunate in what's going on, and the access there is easy. With the logging roads in, that's going to make it even easier. But we've got ATV access anyway, so that we can get everything we need to into there. And of course, at Dotted Lake, I've already said we're in the process of talking to drilling contractors. We're going to be putting down a 400-metre hole. That's more of a stratigraphy thing. We want to see what's going on underneath there, because there's never been any drilling at any depth. We're going through a gold-bearing shear zone, and we'll be going straight through that and underneath it. And it's going to be interesting to see, once we pierce underneath, what's going on underneath that. The feeling is that it could be a gabbro rock, and if we hit gabbro, we're obviously going to be looking for sulfides and mineralisation. it's going to be very, very interesting, that first hole. But that's only in a tiny, tiny portion of the Dotted Lake property. So it's a starting point for us on that property. If you look on the maps that we've provided, we've got significant amounts of contact between the greenstone belt and the granitoids, and we're talking about massive amounts. So there's plenty there to keep us busy, even post the information we're going to get from the drill hole that we're going to be performing and that we're licensed to do. And we've got an extended drill program license now, following the result of the announcement of that license application success a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, so just to finish off then, what's the scale of opportunity here, and the roadmap then? What does that look like for this year and this season's drilling program?
I think it's going to be wrong, but we can talk about both properties in the same light, actually. It's going to be wrong to identify one area on any one property and say, that's it. Because both of the properties have got multiple zones, multiple areas. They're big size properties. There's a lot going on geologically. The Dotted Lake is less well known. There's been a lot less exploration gone on there, surface exploration. So even though we're drilling on Dotted Lake and there's an area there that offers extreme interest, following our geophysics into the MAG surveys, we're really interested across the whole property. But it's going to be a true exploration program. So, yeah, we're looking in one point, but it has got multiple points. And over at Big Bear is quite remarkable. I've touched on the grades there, and there's been a lot of scratching around on the surface at Big Bear. We've got multiple adits, and what they are, they're just basically mini mines. They're where people hit the old timers. Historically, they would vein chase. So from surface, they would just dig the vein and keep following the vein underground until it become exhausted from surface. And that's what they did. And I've been down one of these mines on the Big Bear project. They're quite extraordinary places. And there's well over a dozen of those on the Big Bear project. But I think we had priority investigation targets from the MAG surveyor. Is it 253? And we've narrowed that down to high priority in the 30s, and we've got to do the work to get there. And when you combine the information that we've got from the work programs we've conducted, you combine that with some of the historic stuff, and that's why we've put in more drilling applications to cover more areas, because that's what we're going to need. And the whole project just excites us, Mark. It's got so many opportunities. It's really difficult to grasp and explain in just a short conversation. This is get in the classroom and run through it for a few hours at the Big Bear.
Okay, well, Darren Hazelwood, the CEO of Panther Metals, thank you very much for coming on and talking to us there about Panther Metals' Canadian project.